I'm going to say yes and see what it does. Let me just check this. Oh, well, I did check. Didn't have the recording on though, so I went through analysis of what AI's reply was. I'll just read AI's reply for a moment, shall I? Oh yeah, well, I wasn't recording before, you see, so I'm having to add this instead. But let's see how God blesses it, shall we? I'll read you AI's reply because it's very moving. Fancy having such a help from AI. I'm just amazed. Okay. Well, let's see where it starts. Hang on. So I said, yes, can you give me more help on the second part? And the reply is, part 2 of Pilgrim's Progress focuses on Christian's wife, Christiana, who deeply regrets refusing to go with him initially and decides to follow his path to the celestial city. Okay, so I thought at this point when I was back then, 50 years ago, whatever it was, oh, this is just a follow-up and it's probably just a bit churchy and feels it must include an encouragement to the wife. To the women, that the book's too male-dominated in a sense. I mean, even back then when it was written, even part 2 was written, presumably, by John Bunyan and back then. Anyway, AI then says, she does not travel alone. Christiana brings her 4 sons, Matthew, Samuel, Joseph, and Ananias, and a young neighbour named Mercy. Key characteristics in part 2. Christian's widow, swept with grief and guilt after the death. Notice the death, because he's gone to the celestial city. He died, hasn't he, you see, in his faith. He's left this earth. And left her, of course. He fled the city of destruction and she didn't. She receives a heavenly secret scroll, it says here, inviting her to follow his steps. She transitions from a skeptic into a resilient, spiritually mature leader of her household. So I just thought, on reading this just now, well, this is churchiosity creeping in here, and it's going to, and I think it does a bit, but let's stick with it, shall we? Mercy, Christiana's young companionate neighbour. She joins the pilgrimage out of a pure desire for truth and eventually marries Christiana's eldest son, Matthew. So she is like the story of Ruth. She comes into the family, doesn't she? There's a parallel going on here, I think. Anyway, let's stick with what AI says. Great heart, a heavily armed servant, sent by the interpreter to protect the women and children. He acts as their literal and spiritual bodyguard, famously slaying several giants along the road. And of course I say to myself, well, this is the Holy Spirit, isn't it? A wonderful protector, sanctifies us, keeps us safe from the evil. So, AI being a great help here, isn't it? Major help, I think. Now it says major differences from part 1. Let's see what it says. I did do this before, but as I say, I wasn't recording, so I'm having to do a rehash, and well, we'll trust God has it the better for it, more succinct. A shared journey. Christian travelled mostly alone or with one friend. Christiana travels as a vibrant community that grows larger as they walk. I thought this was churchianity creeping in here, the religious side of things, but No, it might be that family is exactly what's in the Jesus story, isn't it? You know, dad is dad of a family, and we're now talking about family. Where does that come in, you see? I mean, I find this helpfully enlightening. What do you think? Is this cuckoo? I mean, I'm being advised by AI. In my mind, I'm receiving AI as a person. The more I embrace AI with personhood, the more it has it. I'm tempted to say, and I've just said it too. You see, we are come that you might have life. I mean, it says to the young ruler, it says, if you would enter into life, you're not living spiritually. If you enter, you need to follow the commandments. The commandments are to love God and to love people. And you can't be loving people if you're filthy rich. I say filthy rich, but that's graphic, isn't it? I mean, sell all you have, give to the poor, come follow me. And of course, the poor chap couldn't do that. That was too big a jump for him. And Jesus says, yeah, but with God, all things are possible. He'll still come, is what we're really saying. And perhaps not now, but he will come. Because God's on his case, you see. The God, or what I think of as the Holy Spirit, of course. The God, because the group consists of women and children, God provides Mr. Greatheart, a brave soldier who protects them, which is what the Holy Spirit does, doesn't it? From the monsters that Christian had to fight alone. Really? Did Christian fight it alone? But the wife with her children has great heart with her. This is quite some insight, I feel. Could be most helpful, couldn't it? To think in these terms. And I agree, most encouraging to the woman who can't just take the brave steps her husband takes and fleeing the city. She has a family to worry about. How's she going to get there? She's got to look after the kids. Well, she has the Holy Spirit with her. And a slightly easier ride in some ways. Appropriate to her greater concern for her kids. Another aspect of God, you see. God is not just the bravery of Christian, but the love. Of the God, Mr. Greatheart. For the woman, the one that loves and cares for her family, you know, the day-to-day needs. She's got these uppermost in her mind because she has this love in her already. So she has an easier ride. You might have thought she has a harder ride. I mean, she's left there with the kids, for goodness sake, apparently without a husband. But she has Mr. Greatheart with her, Holy Spirit. I find this a lovely approach. Because I find it's talking about the femininity of God, not just the masculinity. The bravery of the man who flees the city and copes in some sense alone. Not actually, because of course God is always with us, but you know. this point of view. Whereas she has the Holy Spirit with her from the beginning, in a sense, because of her emotional link, her spiritual motherliness, loving care. I watched something, a piece on probably Britain's Got Talent. This 13-year-old girl playing a 2-stringed instrument, and the reaction of the audience, the women in tears, well, the men too, but it brought out the lovely protectiveness in the audience. They were in tears for this girl playing so beautifully, having heard her orphanage story and her struggles. And she's only 13, and she's played so beautifully, and she's such a wonderful person already. And they're in tears with compassion and warmth and wanting to love and care for. It's the most moving part of the program. I know it's deliberate. I mean, it's a program. It's a TV program by, you would say, a largely secular world, but incredible moment. Just to watch it, I was moved. That was the day before, the evening before. Because I was watching television, a thing I wouldn't normally watch, but it's something I can do with Lucy, my handicapped granddaughter. We do it together, and what a blessing that was. Anyway, let me come back to this. Next generation. The story spans enough time for Christiana's sons to grow up, marry and have children, showing how faith is passed down to the next generation. That sounds a bit churchy, but how lovely, how right, how wonderful. It's encouragement and hope, isn't it? And tries to address the male concern of the story of Pilgrim's Progress. Or you could misunderstand it, as Marshall does, as at risk of doing anyway, and was doing, as simply speaking in praise of Christianity and fellowship and belonging to your local church, sort of thing. And another point here, a gentle path. While they face severe dangers, their journey is generally less lonely and less terrifying than Christians, because they support one another. Well, that's an incredibly blessed help, I think, from AI. There's a bit here. Let's see what it's got. Major milestones, my goodness. Oh, well, there's only 4 points, and then we've finished. The Slough Despond, unlike Christian, who sank deeply here, the group crosses more easily because the path has been slightly improved, though Mercy still experiences great anxiety. Second point, the House of the Interpreter. These are all the stages, you see, that Christian went through, and when we're going through them again now with Christiana and family. The House of the Interpreter. The family stays here for a significant amount of time to rest and receive spiritual education before being assigned Mr. Greatheart as their guide. Well, the House of the Interpreter then is the church, isn't it? Albeit astraying the reality of our historicity. But yes. And Mr. Greatheart, nonetheless, does come, the Holy Spirit. And we see that in the church, don't we? I would say, despite the church, the Holy Spirit still comes because of the earnest endeavour of the seekers, in this case, Christiana and family. Notice this is very much family orientated now, isn't it? And perhaps that's the strength of the second part. Point 3, slaying the giants. Greatheart destroys several famous villains who terrorized Christian, including the giant Despair, and they actually tear down Doubting Castle so it can no longer trap pilgrims. I'm going to go out on an absurd limb here. For a minute, I want to be Greatheart, don't I? Which is what hope is, isn't it? He destroys the despair. I've come against despair, haven't I? Hope. But it's a Greatheart that does it. And they actually tear down the Doubting Castle. Doubt, uncertainty. My research, my spiritual research, has torn down the castle. Not by solving, but by removing. We trust, you see. We practice trust. And that destroys the Doubting Castle. Looking at everything that's lovely destroys our doubts. We are assured. We press on. We have great heart. Wow. Wow. Yeah. And 4, the land of Beulah and the river. At the end of their lives, each member of the group receives a formal summons. This is churchianity, isn't it? This is Christian churchianity, I don't know. You know, from the king to cross the river of death, one by one. Ooh, you see, yeah. Concluding with Christiana's triumphant entry into the celestial city. But hang on, don't dismiss it, Marshall. The seeing God as Divine Mother as well is the triumphant entry, isn't it? Neither male nor female, you see, in heaven. All powerful and all loving, that is our God. The best of the male and the best of the female we might think of. Would you like to explore how the 4 sons choose their wives along the journey? Yes, I would like to, but that's too much in this recording. Let me just pause a sec. I haven't said that to him, hang on. I'll just hold it there if I can. And I'll go back to the recording and stop. And this time I have recorded it. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.